So now we are ready. Now we're ready to listen and we're ready to hear it. The teachers are available when you're ready. And that, I love this, now also implies the present. Now and now and now. That's all we can have. Now and now and now and now. And we get really caught up in the past and the future. We don't question our mind and we suffer. So Patanjali says, actually, it's the mind that we're going to really go into in this practice, and very little about the body. There are very few Yoga Sutras about asana, maybe 3. Most of them are about how to realize the obstacles, how to overcome the obstacles, how to meditate, how to live an ethical life. So Anushasana, it's the discipline, it's the exposition. Now the discipline is presented. So it's just a really beautiful beginning, and it's also a blessing. It really is a blessing. May you be blessed on your journey here. And then the second one comes in with a Yoga Chitta Vritti Narodaha. What does that mean? Sometimes yoga, chitta, vritti, narodaha. You're like, I don't know, that's why you're here. But I have a feeling some of you know, so I just want to see here where you are.
It's the anxiety of the mind, the jumping around.
The turmoil, the turnings. They say the stressful thoughts. You can keep your good ones. You can keep your unstressful thoughts. But the stressful thoughts, the painful modifications, the obsession, like you don't even have a new thought. You wish for a new thought. It's just that same one over and over again. So when we question that, there's the possibility of freedom. A questioned mind is liberation. An unquestioned mind is suffering. Sometimes they say, oh, you're here, you're already questioning. This is the most famous verse in the Yoga Sutras. So repeat after me. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha 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 Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Together. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Take a deep breath. Okay. So there it is in a little nutshell. That the chitta is often translated as mind stuff. I love that stuff, mind stuff. And then the vrittis, the turnings, right? Pada vritti, revolved triangle. Pada vritti, trikonasana. So by itself, vrittis are just turnings, they're just revolutions. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. But when they, like I said, when they're obsessive, when they're painful, when they're stressful, and we don't question, we believe them to be true. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough money. What's another stressful thought?
Nobody likes it.
Nobody likes me.
I'm too fat.
I'm too fat. What's another stressful? Oh, come on. What's another stressful?
My boss is a pain in the ass.
My boss is a pain in the ass. It's their fault, right?
I've run out of patience.
I run out of patience. I am impatient. Right?
Too busy.
I'm too busy. I don't have enough time.
There's not enough time.
Not enough time. Not enough time. There's not enough. I don't have enough money. You don't love me.
If only I had a better car.
If only I had a better car. These clothes aren't right. Is there one new stressful thought in that bunch? Anybody hear one that they've never heard before? I think it's since Patanjali's time. It's the same stressful thoughts. So then we question, is that true? right now in this moment, is it true I don't have enough money? All you have is now, and now, and now. No, right in this moment, I have enough money. I'm completely all the money I need right now. So then, who am I if I don't have that thought? Well, I'm just happy. I'm just sitting here in a room. Mostly that's what we do. We sit, we stand, we walk, we lie down. There's no bear on the porch. Nobody's running after us with a machete. We're very fortunate. No IV, no beep, beep, doo, doo. You know, right now, we can be grateful. So yoga, then that beautiful, my most favorite, I think. They're all my favorite. Do you have a book? Are you looking? You want to look at a book? Do you have a sutra book? There's some more. You can buddy up. Tada drushku svarupe va sarupa sthana. Oh, yeah, you have that sheet. You have that sheet, number 3. That colored sheet she's going to pass around.
You have it, yeah? I have it. Most of you printed that for me.
I did not print it out.
I have plenty, so not a problem. Carlotti. Yeah.
You have to read your emails, right? Isn't this the same? Oh, you go. I got it.
You're fine. Maria. Betty. I have problems with this. Good.
So, Tada Drishtu Svarupyavasthan. It's often related, the sutras often are talking about the sutra that came before. So it's saying, well, when you can question these stressful thoughts and you find them to be untrue, then you can reside in your own true splendor. And they even say that splendor. So here we are, we're Tatasta Shakti, we're in betweens. I talked about this last night. We're like beaches. So sometimes the water comes over the beach, and you forget our true nature, it all looks like ocean. Sometimes the water recedes, then the beach is revealed, our true nature is revealed again. And then we are in between spirit and matter. We are spirits that are attracted to matter. We have a body. We have thoughts. That's even a subtle form of matter. We have sensations. Are we those? Are we our body? Are we our thoughts? We are spirit souls that have a body. They're having a material experience. That's according to the texts, to the Gita, it's particular. So the sutras are different. They're a little less devotionally geared. They're more terse. You know, they have to unpack them a little bit more. The Gita is very, expounds about how you can do yoga, how you can live a righteous life. Not self-righteous, a righteous, one that's truthful. One where you stand in your own truth and then you're aglow. People go, what is it about that person? You're standing there like this. Then you're like when people come into a room of yoga and you're just standing in Tadasana and they're like, what are they doing? So an important verse in the sutra is this number 3. That it's based on the concepts. Now we're moving into some tricky land about Purusha and Prakriti. Have you heard those terms? And what do they mean, Purusha?
Purusha is the pure consciousness, and Prakriti is the mind and everything else associated with matter, body.
And another way is Purusha is that which does not change. Eternal. Prakriti is everything that changes. So your thoughts change, your body changes, everything changes, and that suffering is when we're trying to bring a state of permanence to impermanence, which is our reality. Everything is impermanent. So Purusha and Prakriti, it's really interesting that we are exploring our love of wisdom in this study, and that Purusha is the seer, drishta, the seer, the witness, the root consciousness, they use the term, root consciousness. It's really not important unless you are interested in other realities than what you see. If you're not interested in other realities, then Purusha and Prakriti are kind of cumbersome and questionable, and you can discount a lot of humanity's experience because people have mystical experiences and they've written about it in all kinds of traditions and religions and cultures, not just yoga, right? Buddhism and Native American. I mean, you can't name a culture that doesn't have Christian mysticism. I mean, they all have this relation, but they're slightly different. They're slightly different. Nirvana is slightly different than the experience of Christian mystics, and slightly different than Atman, Vedanta, slightly different than Purusha. So they're not it's not like they're all the same and they just decided to have different words. But I think that my interest is that maybe they're just a little different. They're little different aspects of different, like LSD. That there's a different reality when we look a little, or when we meditate, or when you see something that flashes out of the corner of your eye and then there's nothing there. Well, on Model, it's, oh yeah, that's something. And you can discount that. You can say nothing was there, but some people believe, yeah, it's just another reality checking in. There's all kinds of layers. And then scientifically, they would say it's like bands of reality. That is even true. At one point, people believed the world was flat. And then someone said, well, it's round. And then people believe it's round. And now they believe, well, it's not quite round. It's a little less than round. It's like elliptical. Who knows what they'll say in the next generation. It keeps changing. Reality keeps changing. But I'm so interested, I'm fascinated by the interiority or interiorization of our lives. That we get stuck in what we see, sort of a drudgery or a spectator. I'm going to just watch my life from over here. I'm going to really participate. You see it all around you. People feel they look sort of beaten down. Their sex and work, and then TV. So here's this other reality that's like, wow, it's of the spirit, and it's about self-realization, knowing your mind, becoming so intimate with your mind that you don't reject it. So this seer abides in her own nature. Universal consciousness is Purusha. I have to look at my notes every now and then because I leave things out. Purusha and Prakriti are the yin and yang of yoga philosophy. Together they express the universe and the individual as spirit and matter. Right? Ta-da! The word. Ta-da! He translates as then, that when you're in the state of yoga, when the seer, drishtu, abides in her own form, your own true rupe form, sva form, rupe, your own, then you're living in a state of yoga. That could be said to be yoga. They give an example of a sculptor with a stone, that you chip away what's not needed to reveal the form. That we're not trying to get anything. And if you're trying to get any more stuff for your toolbox, you let that go. That you're actually letting go of more and more to reveal what's there. That we, again, the water covers sometimes our true nature. And we forget. It gets like dust. So it's not like one time the ocean goes out and the true nature is revealed. How many times does that happen? So that there's a constant communion. Constant communion. Shavasana. Every time you do Shavasana, it's a communion. It's an integration. One of the most beautiful translations of the Yoga Sutras, it's a very rare book, Yoga, the Art of Integration, by Rohit Mehta. And it is not that we're getting stuff, but we're really fine-tuning, we're questioning our grasp of reality. So integration, samyama, another term in the Yoga Sutra, samyama. The three higher limbs in the 8 limbs. Do you know the 8 limbs? Okay. You can close your eyes for a moment. Repeat after me. Yama,
Yama,
niyama,
Niyama,
asana,
Asana,
pranayama,
Pranayama,
pratyahara,
Pratyahara,
dharana,
Dharana,
dhyana,
Dhyana,
samadhi,
Samadhi,
yama,
Yama,
niyama,
Niyama,
asana,
Asana,
pranayama,
Pranayama,
pratyahara,
Pratyahara,
dharana,
Dharana,
dhyana,
Dhyana,
samadhi.
Samadhi.
So that's the 8-limb system, the Ashtanga yoga system. Ashta means 8, Anga means limb, 8-limb system. Not to be confused with Ashtanga yoga from Tavi Joyce. The style of yoga, he called his yoga Ashtanga yoga. But in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Ashtanga yoga is the 8 limbs of yoga, from beginning with the very first yama. The yamas are, I would say, one beautiful translation is that what connects us, that which connects us, the ethical, the morality, but not in the sense of original sin. Yeah, different than a critical viewpoint, but very generous, open, loving. This is what connects us when we are non-harming, when we practice non-violence. And then that's like a year study. What does that mean? What is non-violence? Okay, I don't really go out and kill anyone, but I certainly have my thoughts. They're not always so violent. My actions, my words. People, oh, that was a mosquito. I didn't want it there, so I'll kill it. That mosquito. So then you start having to cover your mouth and walk really slowly. So we have to live. We incorporate. We're balancing. As Arjuna at the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, do you know the story? Bhagavad Gita, he comes to battle and he looks and he realizes that people are going to die, and he knows them. And there's grandfather and their cousins and their friends, and he freezes. It's not just fight flight. He freezes. His mouth gets dry. You ever test in teacher training? Do you have tests? You test them?
Not yet.
I did many years. Test. People's mouth gets dry. So he's like, I can't do this. And the rest of the 18 chapters are Krishna very lovingly and kindly telling him he has to. And that there's a shadow in whatever we do. There's a shadow. That when you make a choice, sometimes it's not that everybody wins. So it's non-violence, it's a question, it's a practice. And then when we practice truthfulness, and I would say that satya is very important in our lives. If I wanted to be president, say I wanted to be president, I would probably tell you things that I thought you wanted to hear. life in my teeth, maybe, or would I? But we experience that right now. Yeah, and my son who's 12, he said, Mom, I watched the presidential debates and I was kind of amazed how calmly they could look while they're lying. I said, then practice that. You get good at what you practice. So if you believe your stressful thoughts to be true, then you will treat other people from that place. I'm not good enough. It's like I shrink, I disappear, or the other way, or I bully my way through, and I run over you. And if I question that thought, I am good enough. And you're okay, I'm okay, I'm just sitting here in the room. You're just sitting here in the room, no bear on the porch. We're studying the sutras, how cool is that? So the fourth one, how to change your mind. Abhyasa vairagya vyamta nirodha. Oh no, that's the fourth one on your list, but it's the 12th one. Chapter 1, number 12, sorry. The fourth one bears just a nod because it says, you reside in your own true nature, otherwise, if you believe your thoughts, then you suffer. That's the fourth. But now, skipping ahead because our time is short, Abhyasa vairagya vyamta nirodha. Again, one of my favorites, I'll just say it's everyone's my favorite. This is my favorite. By practice and detachment, so he tells you this is how you do it. Because you're like, well, how do I do this? How do I stop my stressful thoughts? How do I stop believing my stressful thoughts? Well, you practice and you let go. You practice and you let go. Not one after the other. You know how you've had a really hard yoga class and at the end you can really let go? Because you're so tired. The sweat has been wrung out of you. No, they say you do it at the same time. You practice and let go at the same time. So there's close your eyes for a moment. Can you observe your breath? Can you observe your breath and feel it at the same time? And then open your eyes. Was that different?
It's really hard for me to do both at the same time.
Really hard for you to be, that's why it's called practice. Right? That we are feeling beings. We have sensations, we have feelings. In some of the earlier teachings, they wanted to get rid of the body. It was not good, they wanted to, the story of the Buddha, that he tried all these austerities until he was practically dead. Because he thought, well, the body's the cause of the problem. And then, he had a little rice milk or something and started to feel better and realized, no, it's the middle path. It's observing and feeling. It's the middle path that we have to slow down to see and feel at the same time. I always think of the Dalai Lama. Have you ever seen pictures or seen him in person? He looks out. He's always like this. He looks out, but he's looking in. He looks out and in. He also says, somebody interviewed him, you wrote this book called The Art of Happiness, and you're so happy, and can you tell me the happiest moment of your life? And he said, twinkle. Oh, I think right now. Can you imagine? We go into the past, it was better then, and when I was 5, I was happiest moment. So practice and detachment, these painful modifications are released, that we have freedom. And the Yoga Sutras are really a manual about freedom, of liberation, practical teaching of freedom in order to sort of explain that in these other realities, and then free us from our small self. Yes? Is it possible?
to ask a little question?
Please.
I'm sorry, okay.
No, sorry.
Between this one and the one before, that we went over, I just keep asking myself this question, keeps coming up in my mind. If we're chipping away at this like stone kind of like a metaphor, and understand that completely, how do we start out? And what's the philosophy, this philosophy of how we start out? So if we're born, are we born with those layers? Or are they piled on and then as adults, we try and chip away at them? Or are we born with that sort of stuff initially that we have to then spend our lifetime chipping away at? Or, whatever, or however long it takes to get it. I don't understand how where are we starting at? At the birthplace, where our
It's a good question, isn't it?
Well,
People have been arguing about this for time immemorial.
okay.
It's a good question. Do you reincarnate into a new body?
And so if we.
Or do you bring stuff?
With you, right, in theory, right, then I'm
And the
bringing
Indian
myself.
philosophy would say yes.
Yeah, it's
The
more
Buddhist philosophy would say yes.
Yeah, okay.
So yes, you finish this body, and then if you're lucky, you incarnate into another human body.
With all that same stuff, so you're always
With the
working on
same
each of them.
Right, you bring the conscious, there's a mind stuff that comes along. Other people say, no, that's not true. You don't reincarnate. This is it. You do what you do, and then you're dead and it's gone. So you are the only one that can wrestle with that, what speaks to you to be true. Right? And then that is going into, are there other realities than what we see? And that there is, in this philosophy, a shaking hands of the formless and the form. So sometimes I go, I got it. I'm one with everything. I'm part of the universe, and I'm up there in the clouds, and it's so great. And other times I'm like, oh, I'm hurt. That's my form. I'm here. I'm material, and I have a form. So I'm not just formless. I'm one with everything. But our mind, I believe, is so mercurial, is that the right word? Mercurial, that we can change our point of view like that. We can be absolute and feel like we're one with everything, there's no separation. We can feel, I'm unique, I'm individual, my skin is my boundary between you and me, it's permeable. So I can believe in this reality, I can believe in the absolute. I don't believe we're meant to fixate on one or the other, like the spirit attracted to material experience. That we are spirit and we are material. We're in between. Last night I said we're continually always 12 as humans. We're in between. You're sitting on the ground, your head's in the heavens right now. So it's such a good question. And that karma, even in just the scientific, the law of thermodynamics, there's a cause and effect. That energy is never destroyed. That's probably the thermodynamics. The law of motion is that there's cause and effect. Right? And sometimes it makes you cry. Right? And that's good. This is the cone of safety. The yoga room, it's like this vulnerability, this questioning, this feeling of being connected or disconnected. Where am I? Who am I? The Yoga Sutra says, who am I? Who is this? And great sages and teachers have asked that for eternity, and I'm nowhere near them. So, I present this to you from a very unscholarly, unrealized place. I imagine some of these things like, wow, what happens when you even let go of the desire to be free? Because at the end, samadhi, you're even letting go of everything. I'm like, what does that mean? I haven't wrapped my head around that. I'm slowly trusting, getting more and more examples that go, not discounting different realities, different experiences, mystical experiences, a questioning of the mind and a desire to be friends with this mind. That so much violence, himsa, is employed in trying to improve ourselves. Have you ever done that? Yeah. I'm gonna diet, I'm gonna meditate, I'm gonna all these self-improvement things. Never gonna say a bad word, and I'm so bad if I do, and I'm so wrong. And then it works sometimes. We get results, and so we continue that, but it doesn't last. No. If we're gentle, if there's a compassion, like, oh, this heart too can feel sadness. Can I hold that? Oh, like Thich Nhat Hanh. Ah, hello, little anger. Come in, I know you. This too, this heart can hold this grief when things change, things fall away. This anger, this berating myself for being human. It's all human, it's human. So, abhyasa vairagya abhyam tam nirodha. Practice, letting go. Chanting is a release. They say mantra means that which protects the one who sings. Protects you from what?
Me, myself,
Protects you from the mind. Your mind is your best friend. It can be your worst enemy. On the Bhagavad Gita. That no one can do you greater harm than yourself. No one can harm you more greatly than yourself. So I didn't mean for it to kind of go in this way, but it's
Sorry
just,
about that, I'm sorry.
No, not
It's
you,
just-
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
you.
yeah.
You can drop the apology, really, because it's so welcome. We're all questioning this. Right? Someone asks a question like, yeah, they said it out loud, thank you so much. And then we can disagree. We can agree to disagree. That's what you just chanted. Maybe be free from hating each other about having different opinions. And I always have this funny idea, you know, in India, they all had different schools, and each school was very nationalistic, one way to say it. My way is the best way. In Buddhism, there's the higher vehicle, and then the lower vehicle. Well, I don't think the lower vehicle named themselves the lower vehicle. It's like, how did that happen? My school's better, my way is right. And then they all went out into the alley between class, and they hung around, they ate samosas together, and they all stole each other's ideas, and we're all friends, and then they went back to their own school and said, my way is better. Because people love to argue. Yeah. I mean, there's sort of there are debate teams and all kinds of stuff like that. There's a passion and excitement about debating it, and if it isn't in the fire of debate, if it doesn't come out of the fire of debate, then it was dropped. It wasn't, things have to be proven to us. Yeah, and I just contradicted myself because sometimes there is no proof that we can hold. Okay, so those four, good start, I think. We did the chanting of the 8 limbs, which we can talk about more. We did the first 2 yamas, some satya, and I think it's good we can move. How do you think we think? Want to move a little? I don't know how to do this. So we'll do some asana. I'm going to work with you on 5 poses after we do some warming up together. And then we'll take a break, and then we'll finish with sutras. Does anybody have any physical issues or ailments that I should know about?
Yeah, my left leg is
Wow.
yeah, so I have to do a
continue, you know how to modify your practice. Anybody else? Do you want to go to the bathroom really quickly? Anybody? You want to move your mats, perhaps stagger them just a little so you have some room around you. You can come out half of you a little bit further into the center. So from yesterday,
I loved it. I think so. I would like to have
you're not sick of it? Yesterday? Yeah. Because I had to plan to do that, so of course, it's more fun. So before we, officially begin, why don't you warm up a little bit for yourself if you want to come to hands and knees and do some cat-cow, or if you want to
Actually, Rosemary, I think there's room. I think we can make a little space in between Betty and Rebecca for you here, since there's just so that we have the aisle.
or lie on your back, or twist, or stretch, breathe, open your mouth, make some sound. So inspiration means to breathe. It also is a connection to yourself. What inspires you to move right now?
Rebecca, I just wanted to create one more space there.
So feel your connection through your hands or whatever's touching the ground. And I would say that that is a very good teacher realization that you want to look at your students' foundations. Whatever's touching the ground, you can start from the ground up. Because in any kind of building, if the foundation is shaky, then it's liable to collapse. So your foundation is crucial to your practice and to your students' practice. So your hands, you make that commitment to spread them out, press them down. If you're downward dog, your toes, your feet. Excuse me. That change of season, often very difficult on our frail human bodies. Good, everybody's back, so you can finish up and slowly come to the front of your mat if you need props. You can bring them your blocks, but fold over your legs, bend your knees, and just shake out your head a little bit more. Make some sound, because sound touches you in a way that nothing else can. So it goes deeply, it has a vibrational quality, and guess what? You were vibration before you were form. Right? So that you can really, it's like unlocking your DNA to chant, to make sound, to let go with voice. And then you can bend your knees and slowly come up to standing. Bring your feet together, bring your palms together. Close your eyes this private moment. If there's any dedication, any inspiration, any intention that you want to bring into awareness or sense. Sometimes people say that, and teachers say that, and immediately I'm like blank. So it can be very simple, like, oh, I would like to be present. Open your eyes, bend your knees, hook your thumbs, come all the way up and lean back. And bend your knees, gently touch the ground, exhale. Step your right leg back, release the knee, the toes. Organize, just move your left foot over to your left thumb a little bit, you have more space. And then bring your hands to your hip bones so that you're thinking foundation. Bottom of the foot, the back shin, the back of the top of the back foot, and then the pelvic floor, by its very nature, is a floor. And then you can step back, downward facing dog. So from downward dog, come to plank pose, your shoulders over your wrists, and then pull back to downward dog. Now you have a clearer idea of how far apart the hands and feet need to be. Again, coming to plank pose. Touch your knees down, move your hips back just a little bit so that you can bring your chest and chin down. And slide forward, look down, point your toes, back to downward facing dog. Exhale. So you're beginning a pranayama practice, ujjayi breathing, where you hear your breath, throat is open, there's a slight rasping, a slight bandha, contraction in the throat. And then you can walk forward to the front of your mat, lengthen out your spine and fold into your legs. Bend your knees, hook your thumbs, and press down on your feet to lift all the way up to standing. And bring your hands together to the heart. And bend your legs. Hook your thumbs, reach up and move back. Fold over, touch the ground, exhale. Step your left leg back, touch the knee, release the toes. You can move the right foot over to the right thumb a little bit. Bring your hands to your hip bones. Find your support. What is supporting you right now? Often your students will support themselves from their shoulders. So can you go lower to the lower floors? You want to heat up the basement, not the attic, if you want to conserve your energy, right? And then bring your hands to the floor, downward facing dog, step back. This time inhale to plank. Can you lower in one piece? If you need to, bring your knees down first, chest and belly to the floor. Baby cobra, lift the gaze, downward facing dog, exhale. Enjoy breathing, connecting, you're feeling your breathing. You're practicing hearing it, seeing it, feeling it. I think it was a Who song. Touch me, feel me. Walk forward to the front of the mat, lengthen and fold, bend your knees, hook your thumbs all the way up, and bring your hands to the heart. Exhale. Just that was a little warm up. Watch this. I guess I could be here. So you can modify this. Inhale the arms up. Don't do it, just watch. Lace the fingers behind. Stretch the arms, inhale. And then as you fold the knees in, you fold over. Bend the legs, reach forward, try to lower, lower, lower. And then you can use your hands and rock back. Cross the ankles, shift forward, step back, chaturanga, or you can step right back into downward dog. If you step into chaturanga, you come into upward dog, downward facing dog, and stay. I'll talk you through. So coming to the front of the mat, if it's more accessible, more range of movement for you to bring the feet a little bit apart, you can, a little space, but they're parallel. And then sweep your arms out and overhead. Inhale. Drop the hands behind, lace the fingers together. Exhale, stretch. Breathe in. And bend the knees, melt over your thighs. Exhale. Release the hands, bend your knees, reach them in front of you so you can counterbalance and then let go. Drop back. Rock and roll. Cross the ankles. Bring the hands forward, step, or maybe a little hop. Chaturanga, upward dog, downward facing. Or you're modifying and you went back to downward dog, and that's fine. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Really letting the sun shine on the back of those knees, stretching your legs. Breathing in. Your foundations are beautiful in your hands. That's it. Breathing in. Step your right foot forward. Bring your left leg forward to the front of your mat and fold. Bend your knees, reach your arms out or overhead, and bring the hands to the heart. Exhale. Repeat. Arms reach out and up, look up. Bring the hands behind, lace the fingers. Exhale as you stretch. Inhale as you lift the heart. Exhale as you fold. Bend your knees, you're crouching tiger, hidden dragon, go, 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 go. Ah. You rock back, you rock forward, there's no rush. Place the hands, step or hop. Going through the vinyasa. Vinyasa is especially placed. Back to downward facing dog. Breathing in. Inhale and exhale. Breathing in, step your left leg forward. Bring your right leg forward to the front of the mat and hold. Bend your knees, reach your arms overhead to stand up. And bring your hands to the heart. Exhale. Again, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, lace the fingers and stretch the elbows. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, counter the weight of your pelvis as you reach forward and then let go. Rock forward, cross your ankles, bring your hands forward, step or hop back, lower or back to dog pose. Urdhva Mukha, inhale, Adho Mukha, exhale. Breathe in. Now lift the right leg, feel it up there, space. Try to turn the toes down to 6 o'clock. Lift the leg a little higher from your thigh, not your foot. And then step it forward to the front of the mat. Bring your back leg forward so that you're together. And then come up to standing. Bend your knees, reach up. And bring your hands to the heart. Again, inhale. Feel your feet as you reach up. Exhale, the arms behind. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale. How low can you go? Release. Come forward. Lift the heart. Exhale. Breathe in. Lifting the left leg, feeling it. You might even see the toes if you look back underneath. And there, yogis that have a hard time telling time. It's 6 o'clock with those toes pointing down. And then step a giant step forward. Bring your back leg forward and fold over both legs. Bend your knees and come all the way up. And bring your hands down. Exhale. Watch. Just if you want to add this. You don't have to. You can stay just what you were doing, rocking back, crossing the ankles. But maybe you push yourself to a forward bend. And then you jump back or step back. Right? A little harder. Good. Reach your arms up from Tadasana. Drop the arms behind, lace your fingers. Oh, you have to move. Yes, you do. Pause a moment. We have a technical difficulty. There you go. This one here. Yeah. Okay. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, lace the fingers. Inhale, breathe. Exhale, fold over, bow. Bend the knees, reach forward. Use your hands or not. Rock back. See if you can push yourself all the way up to standing forward bend. And then bend the knees, step or hop back. Chaturanga. Upward dog. Downward facing dog. So this is good, but you're going to have to move your mat a little forward because I think when you roll back in, your head will be very slack. Right? Yeah. So you just be careful of the wall behind you, right? Breathe in. Lift the right leg up. I didn't show this, but I know you can think about it. Hop on your left foot a little closer to the front of the mat with the right leg up in the air. Like a half a handstand. Hop, hop, hop. Get as close as you can. And then bring both feet together. Bend your knees. Come all the way up. Inhale. Bring your hands to the heart. Step a little forward if you didn't make it all the way. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, lace the fingers behind. Stretch and breathe. Exhale, fold over the legs. Reach your arms forward, bend your knees. You're simply rocking back and crossing ankles, or you're pushing all the way up to a forward bend. Oh my God. Jump back. Chaturanga. Upward dog. Downward facing dog over the toes. Inhale and exhale. How's your breath now? Can you feel it? Can you hear it? Can you see it? Lifting the left leg up in the air, you're taking a series of hops to the front of the mat on that right foot. Hop, 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 all the way, and then you bring both legs down. Bend your knees, come all the way up, and bring your hands together. Come into tree pose. Bend your right leg, bring the foot to the inside of your left thigh, and then first rest your palms together. Thumbs can be on the sternum. And notice your left foot. It's wavering, isn't it? So how do you feel about that?
Annoying.
Oh, it's annoying. Right? Guess what? That's a smart foot. Your foot is trying to keep you balanced. It wavers. Right? It wavers. Yeah. Breathe in. And then step down, turn the leg parallel, bring the foot down. Take the other leg. Maybe a little friendlier about that wavering underneath leg. Ah, smart. What a smart foot I got. Woohoo. Yeah. Keeping me balanced. And if it doesn't, then I fall. And I still think, okay, because if the forest was just full of trees that never fell, it would be too overpopulated. Turn the left leg parallel. That one kind of went over like that. Sometimes they work. Did you ever see the Gary Larson cartoon? The deer, the herd of deer up on the hill looking down at the village. Why don't they get in their own damn herd? That's a country joke, you know. So coming to Tadasana at the front of the mat. Taking a Surya Namaskar, simple. Reach the arms up, inhale. If you have room, swan dive, otherwise take your hands forward, exhale. Bend your knees, you can step or hop to Chaturanga, plank and lower, upward dog, inhale, downward facing dog, exhale. Inhale and exhale, 1. Inhale and exhale, 2. Inhale and exhale, 3. Inhale and exhale, 4. Inhale on 5, bend your knees, drop your hips towards your heels and step or hop to the front. Inhale, flat back, exhale, fold. Bring the arms up and overhead to stand and bring your hands down. Exhale. With the big toes touching the heels a little bit apart, come into Utkatasana. Bend your knees and reach up. And then fold over the legs, straighten them forward bend. Again, prepare well. Means your hands have to be on the ground to push back, stepping or jumping into Chaturanga. Upward dog. Downward facing dog. Take a deep breath. Step your right foot forward. Before you turn your back heel down, organize that right foot. Move it over to the right thumb. Look back at your left heel underneath you and put it down, but it's not in line with your front heel. There's a little brace there, a little space. The back foot is pointing towards 11 o'clock, and then you can bring your arms up by your ears into Warrior One. Look forward. Feel your foundation now. The back leg is completely straight. Strong, straight back leg. Front knee right over the ankle, and the arms are straight. How do you know if they're straight? Look at it. That's right. So go ahead and look at it. Oh, it's always that left arm. So straighten your elbows, even if your hands are not together. Breathe in, and then bring your hands to the heart. Bring them to the mat. Downward facing dog. Some of you might like to go to the Chaturanga. Urdhva Mukha, Krishnasana. Take a deep breath. Step the left foot forward. Turn your back heel, but give a little grace. The back foot's like 1 o'clock. There's some space for these pelvis to come up and be even. Reach your arms up. So you're trying to bring the right hip bone forward, the left hip crease back in space. Like you had headlamps, you'll hear that a lot as a teacher. Yeah, get headlamps on your hip points and they're pointing forward. Good. So can you move this foot out a little and turn it in a little towards your hand? And then you can get this. The back leg is in an inner rotation. Bring your hands to the heart, bring them to the floor. Step back, downward dog, or chaturanga. Yeah, right? Good. And then you can touch your knees down and rest. Child's pose or Vajrasana. Back up to your hands and knees, downward facing dog, stretch the legs. Bend the knees deeply, step or hop to the front, lengthen and fold. Bend your knees, Utkatasana, reach up. Straighten into Tadasana or Samastiti, bring your arms down. So this is a very, not my general way I would sequence because of our time together and the poses that I want to do. Taking eagle. So taking space with the arms out to the sides, bend your knees, take the right thigh up and lift it and place the foot down next to you to start. That's it. Some of you can double wrap the foot behind. And then taking the right arm underneath, really cross, bend the elbows, wrap the forearms, and you turn the palms to face one another. Maybe you grab that thumb, right, your left thumb. And you bend the left knee, it stays bent, and lift the elbows, move the hands away from your face, and squeeze your legs together. They roll in, you squeeze them together. You bend that left knee a little bit more. Good. And come up, unwrap the arms, unwrap the legs, and close your eyes for a moment. Because that's aerobic, isn't it? Just from like squeezing your legs, your little heart's beating differently. So spread out that energy, move it through you. You created it. You can use it. It's like letting the dam open. Irrigate your own crops. Open your eyes, stretch the arms out to the sides, bend your knees, keep them bent, pick up the left thigh over on top of the right, put the foot down and stay or double wrap it, and the left arm underneath. Really cross strongly, bend the elbows, wrap the forearms around, and then bring the hands away from your head. Lift the elbows up off your chest. Squeeze the juice, the sweetness, the nectar out of your legs. Yes, very good for your legs, right? And then unwrap, come up, release, bring your feet together. Tadasana. Tadasana. So why don't you take 2 blocks at the front of your mat for Ardha Chandrasana. And I'll show you with Lisa's mat. It's just perfect. So here I am back to tree pose, Vrikshasana. And now I get to go skydiving. Ardha Chandrasana from Vrikshasana. Okay? And then you'll just touch the foot, before you fall. Touch the foot, bring the hands down, step back. Okay? And then we'll come forward again. But notice where you want to accelerate. Like, just notice. Come back to the front of your mat. Everyone, you have your blocks. So the blocks are coming quite a bit forward. If you want to step back a little bit from the front of your mat, you could. But if you notice, when you take Ardha Chandrasana, that hand is at least 1.5 feet and slightly out to the baby toe side of your front foot, so that it's under your shoulder. We'll get to these points. But come to Vrikshasana, bend your right leg, bring the foot to the inside of your left thigh. Calm down. Be in the future. No. Be in the present now. Now I'm doing tree pose. Now I'm doing tree pose. out of the plane and lift the right knee and reach the foot back. Flex the foot and turn the toes to the side. Reach my left hand down. If the block's too far away, pull it forward to you so it's right under your shoulder. Flex the back foot and point the toes to the person to your right. So then the toes flex and you're holding yourself up with the heel. Bend your front knee. Touch the back foot down. Bring your hands to the mat. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Now lift the right leg, step forward. Turn your back heel to the mat. Come into warrior one. You've been here. And then bring the hands to the heart. Step forward together to the front of your heart. Adjust your blocks if you need to. And then come back into tree pose with the left leg. Bend the knee. Bring the foot up high to the inside of your right thigh and press that thigh back into your left foot. Bring your palms together, calm the vitties. Right now you're in tree pose, that's it. And then you lift up the left knee and reach the arms out. Lift up the left foot and send it back in space. Reach forward to the block. Breathe in. Straighten the right leg that you're standing on. Flex the left foot that's up in the air. Open the chest towards the side. Breathe. Beautiful. Bend the front knee. Touch the back foot. Bring the hands to the mat. Downward facing dog. Better that side, wasn't it? Yeah. It's nothing like it. Yeah. You get very impatient. I'm going to get it. I want it now. There's the now in not such a great way. Lift the left leg, step forward, back heel down, warrior one. Inhale, bring the hands to the heart, bring the foot back together to the front of the mat. Inhale and exhale. Again, Utkatasana. Bend your knees, reach up high, fold over the legs, straighten up. Press your palms into the floor. You bend your knees, step or hop back. Chaturanga or modify. Upward dog, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. So listen, step the right foot forward. Keep your fingers down, move your right foot over to your right thumb. And this time, reach through your left arm. Reach forward. Really lengthen that whole left side. You feel that? Pressing your right knee into your right arm. Turn your back heel down to the mat and up and over into warrior two. Left arm goes all the way behind. Right knee is bent right over the ankle. And breathe in. Virabhadrasana, the warrior pose. Peaceful warrior. Turn your front palm up and reach knee back. Excellent. Bring your hand all the way to the floor on the outside of your right foot, or you pull the block under the hand. Take the left arm over the ear. Breathe in. Partial Konasana. Bring your hands to the mat. Step back, downward facing. Optional to do the vinyasa, right? Chaturanga, or From downward facing dog, everyone step your left foot forward. Move it over to your left thumb a little bit and reach through your right arm. Like you were lending a hand to someone. Here, take my hand. You're drowning. Here, I'll give you my hand. Turn the back heel down. Take the right arm all the way up and overhead to come into warrior two. Beautiful. So your alignment is clearer from that way than from opening from warrior one. Lengthen. So the shoulder tension goes more to the root, goes to the pit of the belly, goes to the strength, the fierceness of the legs. Turn the front palm up, reverse your warrior. Coming into partial kona, bring the left hand down to a block or the floor. Take the right arm over the ear and open the chest. Try to turn towards the ceiling of the chest. The right arm gets a little lower over the cheekbone. It reaches towards the other side of the root. Yes, it does. Breathe in. Beautiful. Look down. Bring the hands to the mat. Step backwards. Downward dog. Take the vinyasa on. Inhale and exhale. And then everyone come into child's pose and rest. reach forward, you reach forward, you come all the way, this hand, Urdhva Hasana. You're gonna grab the big toe and stand up. And then you're gonna go all the way back down. Downward facing dog. You won't do it that much time. You'll be lucky if you can do it once. Lift the right leg. Step forward. Reach forward with the left hand. Reach forward with the right hand. Come up to standing up all the way. Extend that left foot. Grab the big toe with your left hand. Reach the leg. You can keep it bent, but lift up your breastbone. Strong right leg. Bring the thigh right into the bone. And then reverse. Bend your knee, step back with the left foot all the way to a lunge. Downward facing dog, step back. Breathe in. Whew. It's hot up there, doesn't it? Lift the left leg, step forward. Look forward, reach forward with the right arm. Reach forward with the left arm. Come up to standing. Wow. Take the right foot, grab it. Reach it out and out and out and breathe in. Stand on your left foot. Spread out your crunching little toes. And then reverse. Bend the knee, let go of the foot. Lunge it back. Bring your hands to the mat. Downward facing dog. Come down, rest your knees. Child's pose. Okay. So you can, now, you can get your notebooks. Any notes? We'll do this study of these 5 poses. Urdhva Hasana, Vrikshasana, Virudasana, Virabhadrasana 2, and something else. Ardhachakrasana. Yes, we did it. So you can take one of these and pass it around. It's got some notes for you that I made. Look at them together, then I'll explain what we'll do. How are you? Okay, are you warmer? Yes, Mine happy. We're happy. Yeah. That's good. Just do it. Everybody have one notebook hanging around? Thank you. Do you have any questions so far?
No, but thanks for these handouts. It's so helpful to not feel like you're furiously writing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, after many years of teacher training, I realized that. You know, like before I was in a sort of like, just write faster. And then I was like, what if I gave it to everybody? They didn't have to spend all that time and be like saying it again, and saying it. And also, what we'll do now is I will teach you the pose, and then I want you to not look at your sheet, to sit down and write what you can remember of what I said. And then you'll look at your sheet and compare what you remember and what is on the sheet, and then we'll break it down a little more. So your job as teachers is that your memory is going to increase. You have to remember what people say and how they teach. Now, as a student, you want to be the best student you can be. You notice that, right? You're like, ooh, this is hard. You have a whole different look at when a teacher is teaching, that you want to notice exactly what they're doing so that you can learn it and then teach it later. That's what we do. We sort of pass this information around and around. It's not like you have to invent the wheel, but you have to remember what it looks like. So come up to standing. Come to the front of your mat. or the middle of your mat, doesn't matter. You can have space, stagger yourselves. So you're standing with 2 feet and breathing in Tadasana. Spread through your toes. Root through the 3 points of the foot. So you're rooting through the big toe mound, the baby toe mound, in the middle of the heel. Feeling that. Then you'll feel your weight evenly with 2 feet. And that's a notice right there. Are you even on 2 feet? Feeling the arches, engage muscular energy in your legs. Lift your right leg, bring the knee up towards your chest, and first just take it with both hands. And strongly straighten the left leg. Press down in the big toe mound, the baby toe mound, the center of your heel, that your thigh is moving back towards the thigh bone of your left leg. Turning the right leg out to the side, reach for the ankle from the inside with your right hand and bring the foot up to the inside of your left thigh. Press the thigh and the heel and the ball and the baby toe of your foot together. Bring your palms together, pressing the palms together evenly. Bring your thumbs to the center of the sternum. Beautiful. And then reach your arms up by your ears. Let them separate. Extend the elbows. Feel the breastbones lift, that there's an openness, beautiful. And then bring the arms down, turn the right leg parallel, and step the foot down. Tadasana. Excellent. Breathe in. And out. Try that on the left side. First, feel the weight evenly on your feet. And then shifting so that you can pick up the left knee with both hands, holding it. Breathing. Strong right leg. So that leg doesn't bend, even though you might not get the left foot as high to the inside of the top of that right thigh. It could be lower than the knee or even on the ground. You'd still be doing tree pose. Turn the left knee out to the side. Take the arm inside. Grab the ankle. Bring the foot to the thigh. Press the whole foot into the thigh. Bring your palms together to balance. And then see in your mind's eye, can you bring your hips even? So the left hip wants to move back in space. Can you move the left hip forward a little and drop your left knee down and towards your right knee? And then turn the left leg parallel. Oh, first reach your arms up, excuse me. Difference, isn't it? A difference in the mind when your palms are together and when your arms are lifted. And then bring the leg parallel, bring the arms down, and bring the foot to the ground. So come and look at your sheet, which is still, it's going to be a little differently. No, you're writing down what I said. I can't remember what I said. Yeah. I was so excited. So just go look at your sheet. Write down what you remember. When you're finished, you can just put your pen down, and if you wish, you could close your eyes for a few moments until we're all done. So would you read what you wrote and then we'll add to it if anybody remembers differently.
In Tadasana, shift your weight onto all 3 points of the feet.
All what?
Into all 3 points
Uh-huh.
of the feet.
Right under.
When you feel grounded, lift your right knee up and grab with both hands, pulling it closer to your chest. Turn the knee to the side and with your right hand grab your ankle and place your foot on the left inner thigh. Bring your hands into prayer with thumb against the sternum. Raise arms up into the air. Bring your knee forward and arms down to prayer and place foot down to Tadasana.
Anybody have anything they want to add?
Something that I heard, I think, for the first time, or maybe I kept for the first time, that really helped was pressing your thigh back into your foot. That really helped me stand.
Pressing both toes into your thigh.
Right.
That made a difference.
So, that's interesting.
Just checking out that weight is evenly distributed before you shift.
Before you shift. So that was pretty much it. I mean, I look at my sheet, it's a little more technical than what I was saying to you, so when you look at it, if you don't have some of this, I didn't say it, and that's okay. But what anatomy book are you using?
And this is the anatomy of movement. French author.
French author.
Langley.
Yes.
Yeah. We have the Kavanaugh book too, but we haven't used it yet.
Right, so these notes are from the Kavanaugh.
Uh-huh. I have that.
Finally, I have something.
Yes, so do I.
Oh my gosh. I got that book. I used to have the wrong book. It's been like, a problem, but
Okay, so common problems and misalignments, contraindications. They're right there, but usually they go hand in hand with the alignment. That the weight isn't evenly distributed, or the standing foot is turned out, or there's just a general difficulty in balancing in general. People have difficulty. Or the legs are, I said something about muscular energy in the legs, that the legs would be lackluster and then difficult to stand. Sometimes the problem is to hyperextend in the knee that you're standing on, and that definitely the pelvis gets misaligned. So could we come around and let's look at, what's your name? Karina. She's going to come in to the pose, and we're just going to watch for a moment. If you want to get up and come over here, you can. Actually, if you want, I'll take that out. Come over here. Stand up. All right, come over and walk over. So she's just, she's so generous to let us look at her pose. And like we said last night, we're practicing what? When we look at someone, you remember what we were practicing? When we were doing this with a partner? Oh, compassion. Yeah, empathy. That we're practicing like, I am her. There's no judgment. It's just kind of me feeling what she's feeling. So she's going to stand and then move into the pose with the right leg and the knee. Good. And then she can turn the leg out and bring the foot to the inside of the thigh. Bring the palms together, press the thigh back. It's a beautiful pose, isn't it? Beautiful. There she goes up. And then breathe in and turn the leg parallel and step down. Okay. So do you notice anything?
I noticed one. That's really
It's
nice.
really nice and it's nice to
Yeah.
see.
didn't do that, how to follow.
Exactly.
And the hip was back.
Was back.
We mentioned that.
Right, so that would be the misalignment for her. Her alignment is very beautiful, strong. Then her right hip goes back a little bit when she moves into the pose. And then even when she's standing in Tadasana, if you come up to standing again, in terms of the side for us, turn this way facing the door. So she would be a hyperextended knee person, right? that's really easy for her to push back in the knees. So if you feel the shin bone here, if you move that just forward into my fingers, that takes the hyperextension out. So the head of the shin bone moves forward a little bit. It's not actually saying bend the knee because people get very upset about, well, my knee's okay. If you just bring the shin bone a little forward, then she has to work her other muscles a little more. Look at that. You want to see hyperextended knees? They just right? So I can jam back into my knee and like nobody's business. So I move the shin bones forward, and then I have to feel, I feel it here. I feel the back of the hamstrings. I'm not able to just hang in my flexibility. I have to actually use my muscles and kind of grip the bone. You want to see something? And this is a really good thing to look at for your students. This is hyperextended. You see how the inner knee goes back and the outer knee comes forward. I'm jamming. I've got this big round back of the leg. So my work now is to bring the head of the shin bone forward and try to bring the inner knee in line with the outer knee. And then I feel it now. The whole back of the leg is engaged and working. Here, I don't have to do anything. I have, dinner. Now I'm like, oh, I'm really present. My legs are really present. I don't get to just hang in my flexible hamstrings. I have to work my calf muscles forward, the inner knee forward, the hamstrings, and then I'm really,
So you just focus on bringing your shin forward.
I do, because that's such a simple instruction. Instead, people say bend the knee, and then people go crazy with it. You bring the shin bone up, does it? You can see it.
You're also
Right.
keeping your knee in alignment with your foot that way.
That's right.
Wow. Where's your shin? Like this thing over here?
There are two bones in the
Right.
shin, and
So you're just bringing this one forward.
fibula and tibia. So you're bringing the two shin bones a little forward. And then I really have to use my hamstrings and on the back of my calves. Here I don't have to do anything. And it makes a really, I was a dancer, so that was great for, at desk. But it's not so great for health of legs.
What do you tell a student who can't necessarily follow that instruction?
Bend your knee a little. Micro bend your knee. People understand that. They don't know what the heck I'm talking about, head of the shin bone. That is sort of an advanced assist verbally. So you could say micro bend your knee, or you could do something like, if you come into triangle, you might touch it even. Stand up and come into triangle pose. Right foot forward, back leg turns, right, there you go. Sometimes I'll do something like bend your knee, and now straighten your leg, and then straighten your leg, right. So this is kind of keeping her from hyperextending, isn't it?
Yes.
You're not able to jam it back.
back. It's gonna go.
Yeah, she's like back here.
But also, when you first told her, you also touched her shin.
I did, so that helps too. I still bring this into my fingers. Yeah, that's our touch. That's our touch as yoga teachers.
But with the block, it's good, it gives you the feeling.
It does, it kind of like,
This is what you should
exists
feel
or
when you're
something.
correct,
Oh.
That's great.
Or if you were to stand in triangle pose again, you can only do this perhaps in a pose like this. If you lift your heel an inch off the floor, keep your legs straight, then she has to changes her work with her leg too, isn't it? Yeah. So back to tree pose though. So her feet are together in Tadasana, and then she's going to take her other leg, her left leg, up into the pose. Bend the knee, open, reach to the foot, and then bring the foot there. So this is very common misalignment, is that the left hip is back behind. If I were pointing her hip bones, it'd be over towards the windows. So it's tricky to touch correct. So one, you could verbally say, bring your left knee forward towards your friends there in space. That's better. Okay. It's very tricky because she's balancing, so I can't do too much. And then you can bring the foot down. So I don't want to knock her off balance.
No, I think people think that they have to be, this has to be to the, horse pose, that I think it should be to the right.
Right, they have some idea that this is the pose. It should be like 90 degrees. Well, our hips aren't like that.
Unfortunately, how much degrees?
Well, it depends on your hip. It's gotta be so that your hips are even and also that are in sync. This is the exaggeration. So the knee has to come forward, so the hip is in line with the other hip this way. And then if I drew from the floor up, it would be the same distance, so I'm not sinking. I have to, with these, the hip points.
So not necessarily the knee needs to be. Never. Wow.
So that's a misconception. That we're all different.
Yeah. So the focus really is the hips.
The focus is your optimal alignment
Yeah.
for each student. It's your individual. There's no benefit in that. Yeah. So it's very personal and kind of blows that like there's one perfect pose for everyone. It's like you have to make the pose fit you, not you fit the pose. Yeah.
I've
So,
been in a class
question.
where David actually has us always bring up our foot first like this to keep our hips in alignment.
Really helpful.
Because even now, if I do it and I just go up, I find that I'm either that way or this way.
Right.
Yeah, but if I start
Exactly.
this way and I'm really aware that, okay, but is my foot balanced? Is this foot balanced?
Right. And did that help you when you went like this? Did that do that?
I feel like I keep,
Lower.
I need to be more gradual first
Uh-huh.
for me. Like I need to do this first and then go all the way
So
up.
that's good to know as teachers, right?
Oh my.
I think on this one, we didn't, or you didn't say shift your weight. So I think that when you shift your weight, you shift your hips.
Often
Or I do,
do,
you know?
sit,
Yeah,
right.
and I was like, oh, if I just lift from the, you know, and stay on 2 feet, but I'm on 1 foot, but I'm
That's a
really
good
that
point.
body.
And you have to use that standing
Yeah.
leg a little differently, and just
Yeah.
shifting over and dropping.
Because the word shift, you automatically.
You just
put
drop
all your
your
hips.
hips.
Yeah.
We'll decide.
Can you clarify what you mean by the hips sinking? Do you mean like just falling down or drifting out to the side?
Both.
Okay.
I'm sinking into
Okay.
my femur. And here I have to lift off of the femur and have more musculature, more engaged here. I'm not really doing anything. Just sort of grinding into the hip.
Isn't it a little bit inevitable though that the hip on the standing leg is like that the bone is going to kind of move sideways to try and balance the weight?
It's going to move, but it's not going to sink.
Could you show what the pose would look like without raising the leg? Because I have terrible balance, so I can't get my foot to the front.
So this
And
could be tree pose.
Right.
This could be tree pose.
So all the alignment remains the same. So
I
you
don't
don't
put it on the knee, I
necessarily,
put it below.
so the beginning where you say bring it to the front and grab it, what would you do instead? How would you teach it
I would just
instead?
lift the heel. Then you could turn the foot and put it across. There's a concept that I work with a lot called compacting the hips, and that might address some of that, where you feel like the hips are going in from the outer edges to the inner edges, and a lot of us kind of you sort of spread out, and you'll see it in a lunge. Where people will, you see this hip kind of goes out, so I have to bring this hip compact. I have to bring this hip in, and it changes my whole relationship with the pelvic floor. That I'm really engaging my core to do that. The compactness of the pelvis gives me the back bend. If I here, then I start sinking into the ligaments. So it really hurts.
Do you think there's a correlation between doing that, spreading too much in the hips, and the ripping? You know, people in yoga often rip those
Yeah.
connecting hamstring tissues.
Yes, there's several things that happen. It's a really longer. Yes, I think that definitely, and also what I was doing before, where I don't have to engage my hamstrings to do anything because they're so flexible. So you go really danger for flexible people. You'll go into a forward bend, there's nothing happening, and then halfway through, the hamstrings will realize that they have to work, and then they'll pull. And so if I engage them right away, then they will go with me the whole way, as opposed to halfway through, they'll kind of kick in and rip. You know, with me, they might not rip, but I've gotten many ouches and injuries because I wasn't using them from the beginning. You know, really engaging the muscular energy in the legs and feeling that before I do my forward bend, not just, you know, because it feels good. There's a lot of, it's a little more reined in. But take yourself to a wall. Here's we'll practice some of those touch questions with each other, but just for you, since you're interested in the knee alignment, if you come to a wall and you stand sideways to the wall, your feet together, and you'll have to judge what the distance is, but you can bring your right foot into tree pose and bring your knee to the wall for balance. So this is addressing someone that has trouble with balance in general. You turn your right side to the wall, you step away about a thigh distance. Use this pole, please. And then you put your right knee, so you all have to turn around with your right hand to the wall. And you put your right knee on the wall, and it's a little bit in front of directly to the side of you. It's a little forward. Yes, it's a little forward. Yes, even more. Yes. And then bring your palms together. How's the balance now? Rock solid. It's rock solid. Yeah, it's really nice. It's also the hips are much better in alignment because that right knee, put it on the wall, you can hand this. That's right. So you put that knee on the wall, that's the point. That it is your balance and help, I guess. Right, so even be farther forward, even more. Yes, it's that. And then you can really lengthen the spine and bring that foot down, turn around, and do the other side.
The angle you're supposed to be in when you do 3 4 would be in.
Yeah, even more forward for you.
Even more.
Uh-huh. That's right, because your right hip is back behind your left hip right now. More. And don't lean back. Come right there. Your hips are even. So some people, their tree pose is like this. Because their hips are.
So your hips are headlights then?
They are. Your hip points are the headlights.
Sondra,
Yes.
when you're saying for your body, then you're saying that you want your student, as long as their hips are forward, their knees are knees.
Yeah. Then as they get more advanced, once your hips are in alignment, then you can move the knee back in space. And it doesn't pull your hip back. Because you figured out something about, oh, that's my limit, but now I can open the envelope a little bit. Then I get a little more stretch into it. But that's in dance practice. So that's someone that's not going to
The goal
just...
is to get it, the goal is to get it straight out to side.
Well, I don't know if there's a goal about where it is, but to reach the optimal opening that it might mean, you could bring it back a little bit as long as you can take your hip with you, because that's in a delusion. You're not opening anything by taking your hip back with you. If you keep your hip in line with the other hip, then actually I'm getting a stretch on the front of the thigh and something's happening.
You know, it's really so helpful having touching me, because you know what I can do then? I can feel what it would be like.
You can feel it when you sink or when you, and then
you can kind of try to
you're not worried about
where it's
falling.
supposed to be. Yeah.
Right. So try the other side. Such a good teaching tool, isn't it? And people like it. And then it's easy as a teacher to look and see, oh, that knee is too far back. And you can say, bring your knee on the wall a little forward. Bring it a little more forward, right? And they'll be like, really? That far forward? That looks good, everyone. How's it feel? That's much better, right? Yes, because they're even. That's excellent, everyone. And then come down. Come back to the front of your mat. And bring your 2 blocks like this. And stand up on your blocks. The best of your ability. You bring your feet together on the blocks, right? So there, your midline is right in the line between the two blocks. And now take tree pose. Bend the right knee. Don't look down at the floor. Your mama's not on the floor. Move forward. Breathe in. Take the foot to the thigh. Press the thigh back into your foot. And maybe a little forward when you think that's excellent. And then step down. Bring the right foot down. Definitely different attention, isn't it? When you're up in a height. Like, woo! I better burn that leg. Try the other leg. You know, if you need to step down, you're intelligent, you step down off the block. Different attention. And then release, turn it parallel, bring the foot down. Again, I wouldn't do this with a beginner. I would maybe be more likely to do this with a beginner student. Or even if they're touching the wall. You know, if they have this wall for support. This is later.
What is this for? What is this?
Well, what was your attention when you were standing on the block?
I was scared as heck.
Because you were paying attention, weren't you? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like meditating on the side of a cliff. Don't fall asleep. You do not fall asleep. I mean, people do that in Southeast Asia. Jack Cornfield, he had trouble falling asleep. They put him on the edge of a cliff. Cured that. He didn't fall asleep anymore. So when you put yourself in some kind of perilous position, you wake up. Yeah. You know, your leg is firmer, you're really concentrating on not falling. And it's only, you know, it's 3 inches. Not a huge risk here. See those gymnasts on the balance beam? Oh my, talk about fearless. They have 4 inches. And they just, so this is low risk. Come down.
Tight hips.
But we're saying that right
He is going to be.
Yes.
It's going to be forward. This is not how I can do tree pose ever.
Right.
I'm doing
So, yes, which is an illusion because it's not doing anything but torquing your sacrum.
And I have a lot of lower back pain, so maybe the calf can check it out.
You should do that with your high school students.
Yeah.
So alignment is
You should do that with your
freedom.
high school students.
Alignment is freedom. You breathe better, you don't have chronic issues disappear, your body has its own optimal health, own optimal, they call it, optimal blueprint. So that you have your own optimal blueprint. You're not trying to fit in anybody else's, but there are some common things. We are more alike than we're different. Not, you know, don't get me wrong, you can still teach a class and give a general instruction for your class. You don't have to each person go through the room like that. You would never get beyond tree pose. But just that you have that, I feel like there's a generosity of spirit about, I really have to look at my students and you do this differently, you do that differently, okay? Let me give this instruction to you. You could give general ones to the whole class, you know, parallel, alignment, etc. Then you have to be discerning, and that comes much later. So don't expect that right away. It's much later that you could, it's like, do you all know how to drive? Did you ever, you know, do anything else besides pay attention when you're first driving? Did you ever like turn the radio or talk to eat? Or did you text when you were learning to drive? Now it's like, so like you get, you know, you're able to do as you go on. The assist, mostly verbal in this pose because you are working with balance, but you could lightly touch the hands to their hips and bring that back hip a little forward. You're behind them so you can stabilize them if they were tending to waver. You want to try that with a partner. So you can find someone, one of you take tree pose, and misalign it for them. I know that'll be a stretch for you, but.
So what's the direction that you're giving with the knee? Like the knee is under the hip, right? Like it's understanding the right
I mean, we might not get to all the time, but they gave me the 5 places, I was like, really?
Fascinating.
Why I give you this sheet, when we do in my teacher training, you see the spiritual metaphors are left blank. We leave some of those blank for students that they have to come up with their own spiritual metaphor, meaning that it's the poetic version of the pose. How that speaks to you, you know, standing like a tree, part of the mountain, whatever, that we need different ways to speak to students, not just turn your leg out, press on the 3 points of the foot, externally rotate your upper arm. You know, be like, lift your heart open, let the sun shine in. You're the mountain poet. There has to be some inspiration about this practice of poetics. So that's something you can think about. Some poses are already poetic. You know, mountain pose is a beautiful translation. Partial Konasana, side heel pose. You have to work a little bit. Okay, so let us go into, Warrior 3. That's what we're doing. Virabhadrasana 3. I forgot. That's okay. All right, we'll save that one. Let's go into, because we're in tree pose, let's go to Virabhadrasana. It's related. Eagle. There are some myths about Virabhadrasana. Eagle pose, Garuda, I think it's the animal for Rama. Not true, but anyway, Garuda's mother was captured, made a bad wager with the snakes and lost. About snakes, you know, you're wagering with snakes, and they kidnapped her and said that Garuda could only get her back if he met these 3 challenges. One was a ring of fire, I think, and he drank all the water and then put it out and flew through. And then one was to go through this spinning, like, wheel in a door that had a sharp thing that would shred you to pieces. And he made himself really small, and he fit through. So that's an interesting thing, that you are really pulling into yourself in Virabhadrasana. So come to the front of your mat. From Tadasana. We did this one already today. From Tadasana with 2 feet together, bend both knees and lift your left foot up, balancing on your right foot. Cross your left thigh over your right thigh, and first just press the foot down next to your right foot. Good. So that is one version of the pose for people who are unable to wrap the foot around. Now, if you're able to go on, you could tuck that left foot behind the back of your right calf. Reach your arms out strongly to the sides. Really spread your scapula, your shoulder blades. With the left thigh on top, the left arm goes underneath as you cross your 2 straight arms. Bend the elbows, wrap your forearms, and then if you can, you either grab the thumb or press the palms together. Then bending your right knee, lift your elbows away from your chest, lift your hands away from your face, and then unwrap. Release, stand up in Tadasana. 2 feet, we love 2 feet. Bend the knees. Bring your big toes to touch, that's right, there. Bend your knees, and then lifting your right thigh up. Cross it over your left, put the foot down, or double wrap it behind. The knee is bent, that left knee. Reach the arms wide to the sides. Taking the right arm underneath the left. You really snuggle that left arm into the crook of your right elbow. Wrapping the forearms, taking the palms or the thumb, and then really squeezing the legs. It's an internal rotation. You don't have to lean forward so much. You can keep the torso upright, lift your elbows, and then unwrap the arms, the legs, and stand into Tadasana. And then write down what you can remember. And write a little faster. Okay. No, sure. Ruby's like, it's okay. Thank you. So who would like to read their singing what's Adam? Would you? Thank you. Tell me your name and
Stand in Tadasana, starting with that. Lift the right leg over the left knee, cross it over the left knee, and touch the floor with your foot. Then raise the foot and wrap the right leg around the left if you can. Spread the arms wide. Put the left arm under the right, clasp the hands and the thumb if you can. Raise your elbows and move your arms away from the face.
So could we add to that?
Yes. You had said put your feet together, your feet
Feet together?
Let me start.
First bend the knees.
Bend
or
both
the
knees.
forward.
To add that detail, you need to bend both knees. And did you say the right thigh, you lifted your right leg on that? Your
But I
right-
didn't say even.
Oh, okay. So that's important in this pose because of the arms. So you would next add to, everybody add to that?
Lower the torso. When you bend, coming, but not bending forward, coming down.
Lower the body.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, right. That would, just be careful, you know, you would say, they would think leaning forward. Which you can challenge the pose. You challenge the pose by leaning forward. But in the beginning, your torso is upright, and it's the leg on top, that arm is underneath. Also, it's not the knee over the knee, it's the thigh over the thigh. So it's higher up. Right? It'll make a difference.
I really liked how you said it's an internal rotation of the thighs and you're squeezing together.
very strong, very important in that pose, and it shows up in another pose very strongly. I don't know if you've done any seated poses yet. Ardha Matsyendrasana. The thighs roll in, and when you really roll them in and squeeze them together, the twist comes along. It's almost like Iridasana, right? Almost like Iridasana, this Ardha Matsyendrasana.
What does rolling in the thighs do? Sounds like a really dumb question, but like, what is that doing?
It's spreading out your pelvic floor. It is, that's the question, what do you do?
Like, why is it so, I don't mean to be rude, but like, why is it so important? Like, what is it, like, and physiologically, what's happening that
It
makes it?
strengthens your balance in this pose.
Okay.
By rolling your thighs in and squeezing them together. It's like one leg, two legs become one. You're gonna repeat that in most of your inversions, handstand, headstand, shoulder stand, forearm stand. You're gonna roll the thighs in and spread out your sacrum, widen your sacrum, and take it out of your lower back.
So it gives you a stronger foundation also.
Gives you a strong foundation, which you're gonna then turn upside down and keep yourself from lower back problems.
Okay.
Okay?
And that's all from just rolling.
From
your
back
thighs.
bending, say even bridge pose, if you externally rotate your thighs, your back is going to suffer. If you internally rotate your thighs and lift your tailbone, you're going to spread out your sacrum and protect your lower back and have it go up into more in the upper back than just having.
And just hanging.
Okay, so you had me started. Internal rotation, the butt moves back, the sacrum spreads. External rotation, the sacrum, the SI joint gets closed, the buttocks press forward. Not wrong, just different. Our buttocks are a lot stronger than our thighs. So you start with an inner spiral, you bring your tailbone into that space, you have Mula Bandha. You have the root lock. You have the pelvic floor
So even
lifting
to
up.
do, yeah, so even to do that, you need to have your legs rotated inwardly.
You
to
need
keep
to
it-
balance for Mula Bandha. In this pose, you are more internally than, it's hard to externally rotate. But if you do think of really internally and squeezing and then think of externally, you're gonna be rock solid. Just you could try it on your own. So that the advanced pose has everything, internal, external. But in the beginning, you need to teach students, this is the stronger action right now, is to internally rotate and squeeze your legs together.
Okay, thank you so much.
I don't know if that answered your question.
I just discovered something today doing this pose that I thought was cool. I don't know, maybe I'm a little below. Behind the 8 ball, I off now.
She has to question her stressful thoughts,
Right?
right? Because they stress her out, like she's not good enough and she should apologize all the time. Is it true?
I just discovered something today.
Okay, that's all.
I
That's all you
can
need to say.
double wrap my leg around. I could double wrap my leg around. I knew that before. But when I felt myself getting out of balance, I pushed the top of my foot into the back of my thigh and it immediately stopped me like on its own. I don't know how she did that. And I've done that pose many times where I never really pushed that hard into it. Now I don't know if I'm messing anything else up, but just that gentle push in the back right here made that firmed up the whole thing from falling down.
Yeah, and I would guess,
I
because
pushed
when
it
you
in.
do that, you're externally rotating
That's that.
as you're internally
Yeah.
rotating, and that's why you got rock solid.
Oh, because you're doing both
That's
at
right,
the same
you're
time.
doing both actions. You did both. First you did the action that needed to happen first, then you were wavering, and you did the second action, which is compacted the hips. By pressing your foot into the back of the front leg, the pelvis compacted from the outer to the inner, and then you became rock solid.
Yeah, that was a great little thing.
Can you say something about your hips in Iridasana?
That they would compact.
And one, I felt a little like wonky.
Right, so you have to balance them as well, because it's very easy in the pose to get wonky.
Yeah, that's right.
So that would be the compacting of the hip, just like in a lunge. Okay. You have to do that same action over and over. There are not that many alignment notes. They just happen over and over and over again in each pose. You don't have to leave a few. So this is not serving me. This is serving me. This is not serving me. This is serving me. Then I'm in the center of my pose. I'm in the center of my body. Pubic bone, 12 o'clock, anus, 6 o'clock, hips, 3 and 9 o'clock. This is something I 2 o'clock.
What was the external rotation versus the internal ones?
But this pose is internal rotation and squeezing together, but if you want to advance the pose, you add the external rotation and bring the hips into the midline, and you could probably not even push me over. Here I'm a little more likely to walk out, right? What you were saying? Walk out. And then I bring it in, and I'm trying to turn my legs out while I turn them in.
So you're turning your thighs in and your hips out? Is that what you said? Or your thighs in and your thighs out?
Thighs in and thighs out.
Okay.
Hips in.
Okay.
You know, the leg, well, you study that, the femur in the hip socket, that's what turns. So your hips their hips can move, but they don't really have much in or out. It's the leg that does that. So people say turn your hip out. I get a little confused. I'm like, turn out. Do you think that's true? Am I off base? No. I mean, we got a skeleton. Your hip is kind of like two bowls, and they sit there like that, and then the femur comes in and it turns, the thigh turns in and out, and the hip can turn, you know, it can move forward and back and move up and down, but it doesn't really turn out, turn in, it's the leg. Is that true? Okay, don't let me do that, but anyway.
Can I ask you about the double rounding?
Yes. Let's go to the wall, everyone. Stand with your right side to the wall like you did for tree pose. But this time, bring your feet together. You're about, a little bit away from the wall. You're not crammed up and next to it. You're not going to put your knee on the wall, so you don't have to be that close. Bend both knees. And take your inside leg, your inside right leg, pick it up, cross the thigh over the thigh. Your right hand is on the wall, lean forward. Take your left hand on the top of that left foot and press it behind your right calf with your hand.
Oh.
Yes. Press it behind. You do the best you can. Right, there it is.
But I feel like my hip gets all wonky out.
Let it get wonky for a bit.
It doesn't matter, I just have
That's fine.
my big toe.
Yes,
That's
just
not my whole
basically your
foot.
big toe. So if you lifted your thigh a little higher, yes, and then you might be able to reach down and tuck that foot with your hand. Yes. There you go. It's kind of hand actually. And then you can release. I just wanted to, that's a teaching tool. To have your students go to the wall and actually by leaning forward, sometimes people who have never ever do that because they do it with their hand. And then you have the balance. I know everybody didn't get there today, but that's okay. It's just, you can manipulate. And if you come back to your mat, these feet, part of it is that they get inflexible. And yoga will change that. You don't have to feel like, oh, I'm going to go out and get a TheraBand or something. You just, by doing yoga, your feet will become more malleable. And that there are certain, I notice a lot of you go like this. Is that what familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're going to learn how to go over the toes and over the toes. You're going to practice going over the feet, so they get more malleable. You're going to balance on this foot in Ardha Matsyendrasana. You're going to balance on this foot in Janu Shirsasana. You're going to take this foot in Janu Shirsasana and make it more malleable. Right? So it doesn't happen in one day, but your foot is not a block. It's an animal. It's like so you need a malleable foot to get it into half lotus. As you get more open, then the pose gets a little tighter and you can flex the feet. Then the feet are flexed. But in the beginning, it might be looser. You want your foot to be malleable so that you could get into some of these poses. Okay. So the common problems: lack of balance, challenging to tuck the foot behind, hard to get the palms together. So that's why I say you can grab the thumb. Sometimes in the very beginning, you might just bring the back of the hands together. You feel that? Bring the back of your hands together. Yeah. That's stage one. Then they get, you start getting a little more range. But you can really compassionately teach, like, this is okay. Still really great for the shoulders, for the in between the shoulder blades. Assist, verbally instruct. I don't do a lot of touch. I don't do a lot of assisting in this pose because it's a balance pose. And that would be a general rule that you would verbally instruct students more when they're balancing than touching them, because you're going to knock them over, mostly. And I have knocked so many people over. It's just horrifying. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Can I ask one more question about that?
Yeah.
What about can you say something about the spine in that posture? Like there should be a little, I don't think you do it, there should be a little back bend.
Right, your curves, and because of the way the legs are, your lower back is a little arched.
Then rounding over is like an advanced.
Rounding up, yes, and I don't even think of rounding over, I think of leaning forward and then moving my arms out away from me, so I extend through the spine and don't flex it so much. But there is some flexion in folding forward. So sometimes you give up some of the beauty of the pose when you make it more challenging. And that to be less flexible can actually be a boon for you. All those that you feel like, oh, I'm not. That's actually, you're going to learn more about the pose than someone who's more flexible. You're going to learn it in a different way. You're going to be able to teach in a different way than someone who has no clue. Why wouldn't somebody be able to do that? It wasn't until I hurt my back that I thought, oh, that's how most people feel. So that I'm sorry I had to learn it that way. You know, trying to shortcut you. Don't injure yourself to have compassion.
Sondra, can I ask you a really quick question? Could you give another verb instead of compact the hip? Because I don't fully understand what compact the hip means.
Draw the outer hip in towards the midline. Draw the outer edges of the body in towards the core. Does that help?
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
So there's a concept in yoga called the koshas. Study that. Koshas?
Yeah, they haven't learned it.
You learned it? You haven't learned it? So they're layers from the outer to the inner to the outer. So that's what we're constantly doing. I feel like we're an accordion. Then we're going out from the core to the edges. You know, they're organic, reaching and opening, but there also has to be it going from the outer to the inner. That not only are you reaching out through the arms, but you're also reaching back in. So you're not just, people have a misconception that I just can go on forever in my stretch. And then you kind of, that there's a real drawing in towards the core to be able to radiate out. That you, especially women, you don't have to lose the ground that you're standing on to offer support.
Really?
And
That's deep.
relax, so now we can talk about Oh, and I have to, well, when we get to the sutras, I'll read you a neat story. So the wall is a prop. The modification would be, instead of hooking the foot, to place it down, and that's enough of that pose, I think. Any other questions on that?
I think we were going to take a break right now.
And then come back